Before I left for Portugal, and even while I was visiting, many people asked me if I was traveling alone. This was my first time leaving the US, so it would make perfect sense to bring a partner. However, my adventure was booked for one. Many expressed concern about my going alone, but I mostly shrugged it off. Yet as the date got closer, anxiety creeped upon me more and more. I started to wonder if I had the resources to manage in a foreign country by myself. Was I strong enough to do this alone? I knew that I would film this trip, but I had no idea how to structure this footage. So, I just brought my camera and shot commentary on my impressions and surroundings in Portugal. And I'm very glad I did this. I was able to review my clips back home and reflect on how my perceptions and attitudes evolved during the trip, and how the people and places I encountered in Portugal helped me address my own insecurities. Visiting a new country for the first time was both thrilling and terrifying, but by taking this journey on my own, I could consciously face the anxieties which plagued me up until this point, and learn to embrace the chaos and uncertainty of international travel. Bom dia. It is day 2 that I am in Lisbon, Portugal. Yesterday I spent the day mostly exploring, kind of checking out the city and getting a feel for things. I went grocery shopping, I tried some new foods. It was a really good day. I really liked this clip from the second day of the trip. It shows how my attitude was already adjusting after just 24 hours in Portugal. On my day of arrival, I had planned on checking out some spots I heard were worth visiting, and maybe grab some photos. This would not be the case, however, as my bank card refused to work at the metro station, and my cell service seemed to give up on me for nearly the entire first day. This was definitely frustrating at the time, but these circumstances ended up being perfect. I was already ditching a lot of the plans I previously had. I would not be eating at the restaurant with the most glowing reviews, or visiting the bucket list tourist destinations on my first day. Instead, I would have to get on my feet and explore the corners of Lisbon myself. This gave me the chance to understand the city streets and neighborhoods much better than I would have, and maybe try some different food. I would also learn just how brutal is the hill in Lisbon. Walking uphill for a little while now. Just up here. By Monday, I ended up ditching a lot of my itinerary. Instead, I was open to whatever the city put in front of me, and that would be Nelly. Nelly was a Moroccan woman living in Paris and spending her holiday in Portugal for the week. We crossed paths at the metro station, where she asked for directions to a sacred location where Jewish people had been martyred for their faith centuries ago. Because I had no concrete plans that day, I made the choice to lead her to this place using Google Maps and experience the spiritual journey with her as best as I could. What would start as a quick side trip would become an entire day spent together, as Nelly led me to various treasures around Lisbon. We learned more about each other as the day passed, and even shared a lunch that pushed my limits a bit on what foods I was willing to try. As a final gift before splitting paths, Nelly directed me down a long road to a cliffside elevator leading to a magnificent view of the city, one which I would have never known about without her advice. I am grateful for Nelly, for both her guidance and company on this day. Had I came to Portugal with a partner, or a strict travel plan, I would have missed out on an amazing day of adventure. The following 3 days would be spent outside of the city, and seeing what beauty the country had to offer in places such as the remote town of Fatima, with its open fields and country roads, or the beautiful island of Berlengas, with its awe-inspiring sea caves and stunning ocean views. On Tuesday, I joined a tour that visited the beach town of Cascais and the colorful castles of Sintra, as well as Cape da Roca, the westernmost point in continental Europe. This tour introduced me to fun and wise travelers with excellent career advice, as well as João, the best tour guide Portugal has to offer. On a tour like this, as well as the Berlengues tour that Thursday, I was able to converse with those taking this common journey with me and learn more about their values, careers, and daily lives back home. I did not fear interaction with these strangers like I might at home, but instead embraced making these new connections. This social emergence would come to a climax on Thursday night when I forced myself to sign up for the Lisbon pub crawl. Not only did I end up having the time of my life, but I spent my evening partying with great people like Michelle and Tasha from California. Those that I met throughout my week in Portugal may never see this film, but I hope they know how meaningful their friendship during these times would be to me and my appreciation for the country. By Friday, I had a good semblance of getting around Lisbon and talking with the locals. But when I got here, I only had €5 left in cash, and I saw that they had a student discount online, but I asked the guy, and he said they didn't, and I said, hey, can you just, hook me up, can you do me a favor, because I only have the 5 in cash, and he actually did it, and I was actually really blown away by that, so kudos to that dude, but I'm actually really proud of myself for being able to ask him straight up, hey, can you do me this favor, can you help me out here and negotiate a little bit, because when I first got here, I would not have been able to do that, and I had to do the same at the gift shop when I was just 10-15 cents short of the cash. I just said, hey, can we just call it good here. I think I'm just getting more comfortable with the people here, with the culture, with the environment. It's definitely different from back home, but I'm starting to figure it out. This clip is a good example of just how much I had changed in only 6 days. Not only was I able to interact with this worker, but I felt confident enough in my communication skills to negotiate price with him. You know what's crazy is I almost didn't even come up here because I was thinking, it might not be worth the hassle and having to negotiate, but I'm really glad I did. This sentiment could be interpreted as the theme of my trip to Portugal. There were many times where I came extremely close to turning around. Hell, sometimes I was already walking away. However, something always pulled me back and told me to go for it. Some words I was told during my tour to Sintra on Tuesday really stuck with me. It's better to try and fail than to not try and fail. This was in context with my current job hunt, but I could not get that expression out of my head. These words almost bullied me into pushing my limits and diving into new and unfamiliar situations head first. For this reason, I had the pleasure of witnessing views like these. Taking this trip alone was the best decision I could have made. It gave me the chance to face my anxieties head on and accept that not everything was in my control. I did not have to worry if things didn't go according to plan because I didn't have a plan. Instead, I just adapted to the ever-changing conditions of my trip. I didn't have to worry anymore. After this trip, I came home free from my daily social anxieties and with confidence in myself, something I could only find traveling to Portugal alone. It's really a shame this is my last day because I'm finally starting to get in my groove. I'm finally starting to understand the ropes. And I think if I had spent more time here, it would have felt
like a lot more natural than where I'm almost there and then I have to leave. But I am grateful for the time that I did have here because, Portugal is amazing.
I would wholeheartedly recommend visiting Portugal, especially during the summertime. If you have any questions about the trip, do not hesitate to ask me. Thanks for watching.